Hi, I'm Daphne from Daps Makeup, and I am excited to do part 2, or I should say part 2, of the Chanel Golden Hour collection. I say part 2 because a couple of weeks ago, I think like about 3 weeks ago, I did a video on 2 items from the Golden Hour collection. I did the lipstick called Late Sun, which I love. And then I also talked about this highlighter blush duo. This one is called Soleil Couchant, which means sunset. Sorry for my mispronunciation, but I did that one. Now, this time around, I got her sister, cousin, whatever you want to call it, Eclat du Soir, which means like evening glow. Why did I do it? So just let me back up just real quick. When this whole collection came out, to be honest, I was actually most attracted to this one. I wasn't sure I was going to buy anything at all from the collection, but if I was going to get a highlighter, I originally was going to go with this one. But then I psyched myself out of it because, I try not to watch too many reviews, but, I couldn't help it because I wasn't sure if I was going to buy anything from the collection at all. I'm seeing a little bit of some of the reviews, which were mainly from fair skin or tan creators, and just reading how the product is described. Everybody, has been using, the darker side as blush and the highlight and the golden side as highlighter. And that's how Chanel also advertises it. So I totally get it. And so because of that, it's just been really kind of clear that like everybody was just kind of looking at this one being for fair to medium skin tones, and this is more from the medium to deep. And that this pink is not that pigmented, so although fair skin people can, use as a blush, that this wouldn't work for me. And so I psyched myself out, and I was like, you know what, when I decided I was going to purchase from the collection, I decided to pick the safe choice and went with this one. And it's nice. Watch my video. You'll get my full review. I give a little overview of the whole collection, which I'm not going to do in this video. And I go in depth about this particular shade. But just to sum up, it's nice. But what I found interesting about this formula is I felt it was more of a highlighter. It worked better the formula-wise, more like a highlighter than a blush. Now this shade, because it's so deep, it is better to use as a blush rather than highlighter, but the formula itself, I like it better as a highlighter than as a blush. I get it, it's supposed to be a luminizing blush. It works, but I just think it's better as a highlighter rather than blush. So that brought me back to my original love, which was this one. Because my plan was to use, well, I was actually not really planning to use it as highlighter, as blush. I was going to use it highlighter. I figured, you know what, I think I could pull it off and use the two together, and maybe I can mix the two, and I can judge how much pink or how much gold I want. And so once I got a feel of what the formula was like, I was like, no, I'm not going to psych myself out. I'm going to use it how I want to use it. I'm not going to use it how the brand necessarily says how to use it, how everybody that I can find on the internet is using it. I'm going to use it how I want to use it. So I went ahead and just said, I'm doing what I want. So I bought it, and I have been using it as highlighter. I'll tell you, I did it just for fun. I did try to attempt to use it as a blush. It doesn't work as blush. So I do have to warn you, if you are of my skin tone, if you're around my skin tone, if you truly want this as a blush, this is not it. But I can tell you it does work as a highlighter. And yes, of course, I have it on today. So that's why you're seeing me glow to the gods as you're seeing right now. What I'm going to do, because as always, I got to have a demo video for you. So you will see me apply this highlighter. You'll get to see me apply them individually and then see me mix them together. And so watch the demo video. Then I will tell you my thoughts. I try to also pull out some other highlighters in my collection that I could maybe possibly do some swatch comparisons for. And I will, like I said, give you my final thoughts on this particular shade and formula, particularly if you are of my skin tone. All right, watch the demo video. All right, so I already did my complexion off camera. If you're curious, I'm using new Tier complexion products. I will have a video dedicated just to the Tier complexion products, so check that out to get my opinion on the products, but you can kind of see what things are looking like. I did powder my face so already, but you'll get to see the full application if you watch that video. But this video is about this product right here. So I got nothing on my cheeks at the moment, no blush, no bronzer, nothing like that. So I'm gonna use this product. I'm telling you right now, this side does not work as blush for me. I might show you later, but this does not. I've tried. This does not work as blush. It is highlighter. So I'm going to use them both as a highlighter. What I'm going to do is on one side, I'll put the pink. On the other side, I'll put the gold. And then afterwards, I'll put the opposing color on both sides to even things out. And also so that you can see what the mix of the two together. So you get to see them individually and together. So let's get started. So I got the highlighter in the typical highlighter places. As I said, trust me, this pink does not work as blush, but for funsies, I will attempt to put this pink as a blush on my cheek. Telling you it's not gonna work. I'll do it for you just so you can proof, and then I will go ahead and put a real pink blush on my cheeks. As you can see, not deep enough to be used as a blush. Not on my skin tone. So like I said, the blush, using as blush, you can barely see anything at all. This is bare skin, and then this is where the blush is on. To get the same vibe, if that's what you're trying to go for, I'm gonna use a different Chanel pink blush that is luminous, but it is truly a blush rather than a highlighter. And I'm gonna put, and this is still soft, it's still luminous, but this actually shows up on me more of a true blush rather than the other one. You can appreciate this blush because even this is soft on me, but it's a pretty pink. I'll even try to build it up with a different brush that's a more denser brush just so you can see the blush more. But the highlighter is definitely showing out. I'm gonna put the blush on both sides. All right, so I've gone off camera and completed the look. So I made sure to blush on both sides, got bronzer, finishing powder. I put a little something on my lips. This is from Tier, by the way. It's their new glow tint. That'll also be in my Tier video. So you can hear about that then, but here's a sneak peek. All right, so, but the highlighter, I hope you can appreciate what I'm seeing, but yes, we're glowing. She did show up for this meeting here today. All right, so let's get back together and I'll tell you my final thoughts on the highlighter. Okay, so I hope that demo video, I hope you found it helpful. So yeah, you got, right now on my skin, afterwards you saw that I mixed the two together. So you've seen both the pink and the gold on top of each other on both sides, mixed together in the center of my face. But you also got to see them individually. Let me try to swatch them here for you. So we're gonna start with the pink side. I always use my middle finger. A lot of times it's not because I'm giving you the finger, it's just a good finger to use to swatch. All right, so here's the pink side, and here is the gold side. You know, swatching it on my arm, it's even more apparent, the pinkiness. And I know it looks, you know, kind of icy here, but honestly, on my skin, on my face, it doesn't come off icy, honestly. So I know that would be something to scare people of my skin tone. You know, I know a lot of people of my skin tone tend to go for golden highlights. And actually, let me bring out the other palette. And I get it. You know, I understand a lot of people want things to be really gold and warm. And you know, for some people it's really important. I'm going to put it next to the gold on this side so you can see the difference. So you can see that in the Soleil Couchant, it's a little bit deeper, more bronzier, where the one in the Eclat du Soir is more icier in comparison, but it still leans gold to me. So it's not like too icy. Because just for me personally, my undertone is a golden neutral. So because of that, I have the luxury, I can get away with both golden and I can get away with a little bit more icier products. So I don't have to have it always be super warm, super golden. I can get away with things that are a little bit icy, and I actually tend to like that when things are not too warm. You know, I just find sometimes if something is too warm and golden, too bronzy, it won't look bad, but it doesn't pop on me. Versus if there's a little bit of a coolness to it, it just pops more. And I like my highlighters to pop. And I hope you can appreciate it here, but like, I really love this. So if you were scared, like this is not going to work on you, yes, it will not work as blush. Now, if you're hoping to use this blush, like, so what I ended up using today as a blush, this is old and I'm sure it's discontinued. So hopefully you have this palette already, or you're gonna have to find it in the secondary market. But I brought this out. It's a true favorite of mine, Les Chaînes de Chanel, the chains. And this gives you the vibe of what you're maybe hoping for. What it probably does for fair skin people, this is what it does for me. So it's pink. It is still luminous. It's still light. Like, it's not a super high pigmented matte blush, but this one in comparison, so you could see the difference. You could see how this is definitely more pinker. It does have more pigmentation than this. So you could tell that this is truly a highlighter on me, this pink side, versus this is, so it's not a blush like this, not even as a luminous blush. Like, this is a luminous blush that works on my skin tone that I can kind of build up. It might be washing it out a little bit with the lights, but this does show up on me in a lovely way. So if you're hoping for this kind of a pink, it's not that kind of a pink. It's this kind of a pink. And for those, once again, hoping that it's a pink blush on one side and golden highlighter on the other side, you're probably hoping that it's in the vibes of another classic favorite, which I also believe is discontinued. But I still love this today still, from Tom Ford Incandescent. I'll swatch for you. This pink is a fantastic dupe for the Chanel. So they're very similar. And once again, I can use this as a blush, but the added bonus is that it has this highlighter. So it gives us, you know, pink on one side, gold on one side. But in this case, you truly are getting a luminous blush on one side and a highlighter on the other side. I'll swatch it just for fun, because I know what you know, probably people are expecting it to be. Hopefully you can appreciate it. But you can see how much deeper this pink is compared to this pink. And let's compare the golds. And this is an icier gold as well. And you can compare to this. Yeah, like this is, I know. This is a really bright highlighter. This is more subtle. And I mean, it's not that subtle, but you know, comparatively. Chanel's formula, it's a lovely, like, that's the one thing is I do really love Chanel's highlight formula. It shows out, but it doesn't come off glittery. It still melts into the skin in a beautiful way. But yeah, if you're expecting this, that's not it. This is what you're getting here. So The two from the Chanel this year are truly on my skin tone highlighters, not blush and highlighter. And so with that being said, like I said, you know, I have worn both. I've worn the pink, solely pink by itself. I've worn the gold solely by itself. I've done the combination. I love them both. I love that I get choices of the two. But yeah, if you're going for the mix of the two, as you can see, like, to be honest, it still comes off more gold. And I even felt, I hope you appreciate from the demo video, that even the pink alone, I still got a very golden vibe from it on its own. So you get more golden than you get pink, which made me think, okay, what is in my collection that is mainly a golden highlighter, but maybe have a sneak of pink in there? My favorite highlighter from last year, from Christian Dior, and yes, the packaging is fabulous, but I actually truly love it for the highlighter. And so this one, see what I mean? It's that, you can see there's a pink undertone, but it's gold. So let's just swipe that here. And you can see what I mean, like, it's truly a gold. It'd be hard to tell, but there's a very slight pink undertone. So it is kind of similar to this one, and especially the mix of the two is kind of similar to that. So maybe if you have this one, you can get away with not getting the Chanel. When I was thinking of a pinky highlighter, this is an older one, but I think this is still available. It's in the standard, it's a staple Dior highlighter. It's called Rosewood Glow from Dior. Now this looks very pink in the palette. And it's pink, but this is an icy pink. So I will tell you this, where what I've been showing this far has been leaning very golden. As you can see, this is definitely icier. So it's kind of like this, but even this is still more icy compared to this. So if you felt like this was too icy for you, if you're my skin tone and you're like, I wanted a pink highlighter, you try the Dior and you're like, whoa, though, too much ice for your skin tone. This has more golden to it, even by itself. And then if you mix it with this, it brings in the gold that you don't have to worry. It won't come off too icy on you like the Dior does. So if you're asking me between the two of these, which one is my favorite? Well, let me put it this way. Number one, in terms of my personal preference, I tend to like more rose gold highlighters over super warm bronzy highlighters. They both work on me. There is a time and a place for both of them. Both are necessary for my collection, but I tend to like rose gold. Secondly, I've also have said, in terms of the formula, this does work as a blush on me. It's nice, but this formula in general works best as a highlighter rather than a blush. Okay, and lastly, I'm gonna use these, love them, but this color story, I can see myself, I'm basically just gonna use it for the summer, where this one I could see myself using all year round. So with all that being said, clearly, yes, my favorite is this one. I love how this highlighter just shines on my skin tone. Like I said, it's a personal preference. I think it functionally works better, and I will definitely use this all year round, not just the summertime, where this is really a summertime one. I'm happy to have it for those special moments, but I'm gonna get the most use out of this one. So yeah, that's my opinion on that one. Like I said, I like that I get to choose, you know, unlike the other ones where it's a mix of the pink and gold. I can just go pink, I can just go gold, I can go both. It's not too icy, so if you're my skin tone twin, you do not have to be scared. It has enough gold in it that it will not be too icy for you. So as long as you're okay that it is both sides are highlighters, then I say get it. But if you're hoping for this to be a blush, don't get it, because you will be sorely disappointed. Okay? So if you're in for it for a highlighter, look at that. Gorgeous. Just not a blush. Okay? All right, so I hope you found this video helpful. That is the end of the video. Be on the lookout. I kind of insinuated in the demo video, but my complexion today is new from Tier. So I will have a video out. I'm going to try to get that out on the next day or so. So watch that as well so you can see how the rest of my face got together. But that is the end of this video. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing to my channel. Also follow me on Instagram, Daps_makeup. That's where I'm the most active. But otherwise, I just wish that you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.